Yeah. What is up, my people? Run It Back Nation. What you up to on this beautiful Sunday? We're going to talk about that Sixers game I just rewatched on NBA League Pass before some NFL playoff games that I'm going to watch later today. You know the drill, man. Run It Back Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of these streams or videos. And consider becoming a member for $5 a month. It's Sunday, so I'm drinking a little brewski here. Shout out to Evil Genius, straight out of Philadelphia. That's the Purple Monkey Dishwasher Chocolate Peanut Butter Porter. Evil Genius, give me that sponsor, baby. Give me that sponsor. Or just send me free beer, and I'll drink it on the show. Anyway, rewatch the Kings-Sixers game. Okay. Ridiculous game. Absolutely ridiculous game. The Kings are 18-33. They're third last in the Western Conference. They have the fifth worst record in the NBA. And the Sixers are third in the East. Why wouldn't we go down to the wire with these guys? Why would we not go down to the wire with the Sacramento Kings? Why would Tyrese Haliburton not have a career high of 38 points and hit some of the most ridiculous shots of his entire career so far? Why would this not happen? This is what the Philadelphia 76ers do. Last night I'm looking up at the TV. We're down by 15 in the first half. I'm like, we're getting smoked by the Kings. Are you kidding me? But listen, we can talk about Doc Rivers' rotations all day. This team doesn't have enough talent. Straight up, what can you do really? I'm not the biggest Doc Rivers fan in the world either, but what can you really do when you have to choose between Furkan Korkmaz, Danny Green, and these guys? Like, what can you really do? You know what I mean? It's another situation where it's an NBA team that has way more ball handling guards than we do. And I was thinking about what my man Romp said the other day. He said the Kings have a lot of talent, and it doesn't make any sense that they're as bad as they are, which, you know, it comes down to coaching, culture, just that team, that franchise, that organization. But they have a lot of talent. So when it comes to the Philadelphia 76ers, you can get beat by the Kings because they have guys that can score points, and they have a point guard in Tyrese Haliburton who can clearly go off for 38 points against you. Now, it's an anomaly. I know that. He's averaging 14.1 points per game on the season. So it's not like the guy's averaging 27. It's not like he's a 38-point-per-game guy, but he's 28 years old. And I'm going to get into, holy cow, Daryl Morey, make the trade. But let me just go in order. All right? The Kings, we do what we always do. We come out slow. We look sluggish, and it's because we are slow. We're slow. We got Seth Curry. Seth Curry returns. We got Seth Curry, Tobias Harris. These are two slow guys. We're slow. This team has a lot of younger talent, and they're faster than us. So that's just what happens. So we get smoked in the first. We get beat up in the second quarter. We're down by 15 points in the first half. And then, once again, the most valuable player of the NBA right now has to come in and put the Philadelphia 76ers on his back and drag us across the finish line. Because without Joel Embiid, we are the Sacramento Kings. Actually, I'll take it a step further. Without Joel Embiid, we are worse than the Sacramento Kings. This Philadelphia 76ers roster is a lottery team. Without Joel Embiid, it's just the facts. It just is what it is. I actually thought the Kings were impressive in the first half. They had a good strategy against Joel Embiid, throwing the double teams, throwing the triple teams. They got size. You know, they don't have amazing centers, but they got size. Rashawn Holmes, Marvin Bagley III. You know what I mean? Embiid didn't have a good first half. He only got his first field goal with what? With what? Well, got his first field goal with 1:31 left in the first half. He had 2 points in the first quarter. So, you know what I mean? I thought the Kings were doing a good job with Joel Embiid in the first half of the game. And the rest of our guys, as per usual, were just not stepping up. And we're used to it, though. It's not like I'm going to sit up here and rant. It's not a good supporting cast. We're not going to blow out teams. We're just not. You know, when we have a night where we're making a lot of threes or whatever, we can blow out teams. But I'm not expecting it at this point. I just we are what we are. We're Joel Embiid and not a great supporting cast, so we go down to the wire with teams like the Kings. Joel Embiid did most of his damage on Damian Jones. He scored 17 of his 36 on Damian Jones, so he was struggling to score against Bagley and the rest of the boys. But they were fouling him a lot because you can't guard Joel Embiid. So, he got to the foul line a lot in the first half. He finished the game with 36 points. He had 24 second-half points and 17 in the third when him and Tyrese Maxey start to bring us back. And Joel ties the game with to end the third quarter with an and one under the rim or a fadeaway jumper and one, what have you. So Joel Embiid drags us across the finish line again. 17 points in the third. Starts just absolutely doing everything by himself. He reminds me of a 7-foot. I don't want to go crazy here, but I'm not comparing him to Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, but he just has that mentality where he says, all right, you guys suck. You know what I mean? He walks into the game in the third quarter and he says, you guys suck. Give me the ball. Enough is get out of the way. Get out. I don't need a point guard. I don't need a shooting guard. I don't need a small forward. I don't need anything. Give me the ball. You guys suck. I'm going to go win the game. And he's bringing the ball up the floor. He's hitting threes from the top of the key. He gets a full court rebound, runs the coast to coast and one. He just takes over games. And it's amazing to watch, but at the same time, it's frustrating because the only reason he's doing that is because nobody else can do anything. Tyrese Maxey was a big part of the third and the fourth quarter, a major part, I'll say. You know what I mean? He finished the game with 7 assists, which is great for Tyrese Maxey, coming off a game where he had his first 10-assist game. So, Tyrese Maxey helped, but let's be realistic here. Joel Embiid has no actual help. He doesn't have another all-star on his team. He needs help. He needs help. He needs help. Daryl Morey. Listen, I haven't watched Tyrese Haliburton play a lot of basketball. I haven't watched a lot of Kings games. Why would I? I'd rather watch paint dry. But after watching Tyrese Haliburton in this game, Daryl, just make the trade, man. Just make the trade. Just make the trade, man. Just make the trade. Haliburton finishes a game with a career-high 38 points, and I still haven't looked it up, but we have to lead the league in players with career highs. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous at this point. We have to lead the league in players setting career highs. It's just what happens. He had 38 points. Where the hell did I have it at? He's a pick and roll. Listen, the kid's 21 years old, by the way. So he's Tyrese Maxey's age. He plays the game about 4 years ahead of Tyrese Maxey. I'm sorry, he just does. He looks like a poised, experienced point guard. He runs the pick and roll. He's patient. He puts passes on a rope. He's throwing no-look alley-oops out here. He's coming around the screen and pulling up from the mid-range. I mean, he's 6'5", a 6'5" pick-and-roll point guard who can shoot. Yeah, his shot looks weird. His shot is, I don't understand it. His shot doesn't make sense to me. It's a weird-looking shot, but he hits it. He makes it. And he hit that massive corner fadeaway to bring it within 2 points right there towards the end. He was huge in the fourth quarter. What kind of 21-year-old puts a team on his back like Tyrese Haliburton did last night? He was massive in the fourth quarter. What did he have? 14 points in the fourth quarter? He had 4 threes in the fourth quarter. He was 4 for 4 from the three-point line. He was 5 for 5 from the field. A step back from the top of the key, another one off an offensive rebound that was wide open, and then he gets the fadeaway from the corner that was just like Luka Doncic-esque, which was ridiculous. The final play, I thought, they were only down 2. I thought he should have shot the floater from the foul line or took another dribble and thrown the lob to Rashawn Holmes. He kicks it out to Rashawn Holmes. He kicks it out to, who did he kick it out to? Harrison Barnes to try to win it from 3, and he shanked it off the backboard. So I thought he kind of folded on the last play of the game. But listen, that was just a ridiculous performance by Tyrese Haliburton at 21 years old, putting a team on his back, 14 fourth quarter points, 100% shooting in the fourth, 4 for 4 from 3. It was ridiculous. A player at that age and a point guard who has handles and can shoot the three and can pass the ball and can read the floor, and who I just watched put a team on his back in the fourth quarter, is a serious upgrade over our last point guard who is terrified of the basketball in the fourth quarter. So when you look at that trade that Daryl Morey apparently turned down, and I know they asked for Matisse Thybulle, but you're also asking them to take Tobias Harris also. When you look at that trade that Daryl Morey turned down, at this point after watching him last night, I don't want to overreact. I would trade Ben Simmons for Tyrese Haliburton straight up right now. Because think about what you saw him do last night on that terrible Kings team. What would his game look like with Joel Embiid? You know what I mean? Because Joel Embiid commands double and triple teams. If this dude just dropped 38 points with very little help, he could be an amazing point guard playing alongside Joel Embiid. And shout out to Romp for saying it the other day. Some people disagreed. Somebody told me Tyrese Haliburton's not the guy. Listen, did you watch the game last night? He's inconsistent. He's only 21 years old, but he's also playing on a horrible team in a bad franchise culture, whatever, losing culture. I'm just saying, imagine that dude being elevated by the MVP level play of Joel Embiid. And I just watched him put a team on his back, and I don't even question the fact that he could do that in the playoffs. He does have some really bad games. I agree. He had a goose egg against us the last time they played. He had 2 games in a row where he was 1 for 17 or 1 for 11 from 3 and like 3 for 27 overall, 2 games in a row. Everybody has bad games. I'm just talking about his actual skill set and what I watched last night and what his potential is. He's 21. I know we're not playing for the future, but he's pretty damn good right now. That's my take on that. Joel Embiid finished the game with 6 assists. Again, getting his point guard on, developing his passing game. Completely controlling the game, completely taking over. I'm blown away by Joel Embiid. The story of the fourth quarter, we blew him out in the fourth quarter. The Sacramento Kings came down to earth in the fourth quarter. Aside from Tyrese Haliburton taking over the game in the last 5 minutes, they came back down to earth. We had some big turnovers to start the fourth, got some fast break points. They turned back into the Kings. Bad shots, bad turnovers, no team chemistry. Maxey gets an and one. Maxey stepped up in the fourth quarter. Tyrese Maxey looked like a willing shooter in the fourth quarter, and that makes me feel good. Because what we saw in the beginning of the season with Tyrese Maxey and the whole Doc Rivers telling him, think about your shot selection. Any shot you take, that's a shot that Danny Green could have. That's a shot that Tobias Harris could have. You know what? All that. Every single little bit of that, Tyrese Maxey. You are the number 2 player on this team. And last night in the fourth quarter, when he was not hesitant to pull up from 3 around a screen at the top of the key, Tyrese Maxey is finally telling himself, I am the number 2 on this team. Forget $180 million Tobias Harris. Forget anybody else, Danny Green or anybody else. I'm the number 2 on this team. I'm shooting a damn ball. And that makes me feel good. It was fun to watch Haliburton and Embiid go back and forth because, Embiid's a superstar in the middle of his prime. Haliburton's 21, and it was just a 3 on this side. Embiid comes down and hits a 3. Haliburton comes down and hits another 3. Embiid comes back down, gets an and one. Ridiculous. It was fun to watch. When you talk about that trade, and I'm watching the team, and I'm trying to gather opinion on certain players. Harrison Barnes, you know what I mean? Is he really better than Tobias Harris? I think he fits better than Tobias Harris. I think he's more of a stretch 4 than Tobias Harris is. But I don't think he's moving the needle one way or the other. When you look at the trade, I guess they'd have to throw him in for the money to work, but he doesn't impress me much. He had 10 first quarter points, finished the game with, 16? Buddy Hield. I know it for a fact. We as Sixers fans overrate certain players from other teams. We overrate Buddy Hield. Let's call it what it is. The guy is literally basically Furkan Korkmaz. Buddy Hield's basically Furkan Korkmaz. Actually, Furkan Korkmaz is a better ball handler and playmaker than Buddy Hield, to be honest with you. But he was what in this game? He was 1 for 8, 0 for 7 from 3. Ugh. If that's not a Furkan Korkmaz stat line, I don't know what is. Buddy Hield's strictly a three-point shooter. He's either making shots or he's missing shots and doesn't really give you much outside of that. So this whole, like, oh, my God, we have to get Buddy Hield on this team, I think we would be very disappointed once we watch him play every single night, every single minute. Furkan is not better than Buddy. Listen, they're both three-point shooters. They're both either hot and cold. They both give you absolutely nothing on defense. I mean, go ahead. Somebody, explain yourself. Murphy Brown, explain yourself. What does Buddy Hield do better than Furkan Korkmaz? I'm being serious. We would absolutely hate Buddy Hield after 3 weeks. The fan base would hate him. When he goes the first time he goes 1 for 8 and 0 for 7 from 3, we would hate Buddy Hield. It just is what it is. Maybe he's slightly better than Furkan Korkmaz, but not enough to really move the needle. The only person moving the needle in the trade is Tyrese Haliburton. And maybe Daryl Morey says, hey, listen, those guys suck. You know, he kind of said that on the radio when he was like, yeah, everybody wants me to make a trade for, a bunch of random players. But maybe he's like, listen, those guys suck. Tyrese Haliburton's nice, has a lot of potential, but I'm not giving you Matisse Thybulle, and you're giving me Buddy Hield and Harrison Barnes in return. So maybe they work something else out before the trade deadline happens. Maybe they do. I would be all for that. Tobias Harris. A whopping 16 points. 7 of 12 from the field. 1 for 2 from the three-point line. He gave you 8 rebounds. He got booed in the third quarter for missing a wide-open layup. He got booed in the fourth quarter after he got his second offensive foul of the game because he looks at the defender. 7 of 12 is a good percentage, but he needs to shoot more than 12 shots. Joel Embiid needs help. How's this guy going an entire game with 12 field goal attempts when he's supposed to be a stretch 4? He's supposed to be your second scorer on the team. How's he going an entire game with 12 field goal attempts? So he misses a wide open layup and gets booed. For some reason, he looks at a defender who's clearly standing still outside of the restricted area, just waiting for him to plow into him, and he says, you know what? I'm going to run straight into this guy. I'm going to give this official probably the easiest charge call they've ever had in their career. Can I do a Euro step? Can I do anything? Can I do a dribble spin move? Can I do any offensive move at all? That's the thing when you really watch Tobias Harris with the ball in his hands trying to go to the basket. What moves does he have? What move does he have? He doesn't have a Euro. He doesn't have a dribble spin. He just plows straight into the guy. He makes a straight line to the basket. That's his game. If the defender's out of position, he can score. If the defender's in position, he drives straight into him for a charge. And the fans boo because, like, the whole arena feels like I do. We're tired of watching Tobias Harris. It's predictable. It's annoying. It's not fun to watch. Whatever. He gives you 16 points. You can find 16 points from any stretch 4 in the NBA, like, that's available at veteran minimum. You can get 16 from George Niang. So again, if you can get a team to take Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris, and you get a point guard like Haliburton in return, please, Daryl Morey, just make it happen. Make it happen. Romp. Just keep Tobias and trade Simmons and picks for Haliburton, Barnes, Thompson. we then finally have a deep team. Romp, I know how much you can't stand Tobias Harris. You really want us to keep Tobias Harris for what? I mean, I guess he's another scorer that you can keep, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't make sense to me to pay $180 million for him. That's all I'm saying. Like, yeah, he's another guy on your team that can score, but I think it makes more sense to clear up that money and go pay somebody else, and then use his cap space in other areas. Tobias is a solid third option, which is exactly why you can't pay him $180 million. Who pays Who pays a max contract to a third option? Unless it's, Draymond Green or Klay Thompson or something like that. I don't know. Matisse Thybulle gave you 8 points. Shot 100% from the field. 3 for 3, 2 for 2 from 3. Had a couple corner threes. Good to see Matisse Thybulle hitting some corner threes. I say this a lot, but if he could be more consistent with it, maybe he can be a 3-and-D player. I don't know. It's good to see him hitting shots. I don't know if he can keep it up. Stay off my grass podcast. Please stop promoting your show in my chat, sir. It's like, what? What else I want to say, man? Seth Curry comes back, gives you 8 points. He was 3 for 10. He was 2 for 7 from 3. He scored 5 quick points in the first quarter and it was pretty much cold the rest of the game. The fact that, he got some shots up. He had 10 shot attempts. He had 7 3 attempts in the game. I like that. We need guys that are willing to shoot. Seth Curry will come back around and start scoring points for us. I have faith in him for that. Danny Green, 11 points off the bench, 4 of 5 from the field, 3 for 4 from 3. Again, not the biggest Danny Green fan in the world, but we miss players like that. He's a 40% three-point shooter on his career. He's a shot maker. As much as I cringe when he dribbles a basketball, as much as I cringe when he does his little duck run down the court, he's a shot maker. This team needs shot makers at this point right now until something happens, which, sadly I feel like is not going to be at the trade deadline. George Niang, 28 minutes, 3 points, 1 for 5, 1 for 4 from the field. Role player. Role players are inconsistent. What else can you say, man? But overall, ridiculous game. I can't believe what I saw Tyrese Haliburton do in the fourth quarter. That fadeaway from the corner was insane. I think he should have shot the floater from the free throw line on that last play or taken another dribble and threw the lob to Rashawn Holmes instead of kicking it out to Harris and Barnes for 3. But we survive, and again, the main story of the day, of the thing, is that the Sixers absolutely suck without Joel Embiid. The Sixers are trash without Joel Embiid. We got to do something at the trade deadline. Yeah, I agree. We got to do something, You got to do something. Even if it's not the Ben Simmons trade, even if it's not the big splash that puts you over the top and makes you a championship contender, we got to do something. So I wanted to have this pulled up, but of course I didn't. The 76ers move into third place. Where's my screen at? The 76ers move into third place in the East. And it's kind of giving me damn it, come on. It's kind of giving me vibes of the end of the Philadelphia Eagles season, to be quite honest with you guys. Because, yeah, we're in third. Yeah, we're only a game and a half out of first place. That sounds crazy. That sounds ridiculous that we're there. Because, if you watch this show and some other Philly sports shows, you would think we're terrible. You would be like, well, the way these guys talk, they talk like this team is absolutely trash, but you're third in the Eastern Conference. Yeah, you're third in the Eastern Conference 100% because you have the most valuable player in the NBA on your team every single night. And he's as healthy as he's ever been in his career. He's at an all-time high right now. He's absolutely unstoppable. And he's so good that he has a G League roster, maybe not G League roster, but he has a lottery team. He has a lottery team supporting cast at number 3 at the 3rd seed in the East right now. That's how good Joel Embiid is. So let's not go crazy here and say, we don't need anything. There was people the other day saying we're fine without Simmons. We'll look at us. We're at 3rd in the East. We're fine without Simmons. Well, I don't think you're watching every play of every game if you're saying that. I really don't think you are. Rob, this is a good point, man. I want the Nets in the first round. Can't stop Embiid. No Kyrie for half-series fraud. I think we can beat the Nets with the roster that we have right here. But as far as teams that have a lot of athleticism and really good defense and really good defensive strategies like the Miami Heat, the Chicago Bulls, the Milwaukee Bucks, even the Charlotte Hornets, if they creep up there and we end up playing them somehow, some way, they run a good zone and have a lot of athleticism. Any team that has athleticism and can run a zone against us is going to make it hard for Joel Embiid and the rest of our team. I don't have faith in stepping up in the playoffs at this point. But being 3rd in the East right now is giving me Philadelphia Eagles vibes, where we beat up on terrible teams the last 5 weeks of the season. We weren't bad enough to lose to those teams, but we weren't an actual playoff contender. And the whole Philadelphia Eagles fan base went nuts. Oh, my God, we can beat anybody. Everybody's 0-0 once the playoffs start. Blah, blah, blah. Where there's knock it off. Knock it off. I told you what was going to happen in that game, and exactly what I thought was going to happen is what happened. So I could make the same prediction for the Sixers. Joel Embiid's going to try to drag these bunch of nobodies to the NBA Finals, and he's going to come up short because we're going to get brick games from Korkmaz and George Niang and Matisse Thybulle and Danny Green, and and Tyrese Maxey is going to do his best, but it's not going to be enough this year. So we'll have to see what happens at the trade deadline. I don't make expectations for this team anymore for good reason. Exactly. I'm not like last year, the year before, when we had these big expectations because we still had 2 All-Stars on our team and Ben Simmons was maybe going to give us something and whatever, and then, you would be let down and I'd be up here ranting and raving and screaming and yelling and stuff. You're not getting that version of me anymore because I look up at the TV and we're down by 15 to the Kings, and I'm like, it's not the craziest thing I've ever seen. They got ball-handling shooters and we don't. So, whatever. What else, man? I don't know. You guys got any questions in the chat? Why is Doc running Korkmaz at backup point guard? Who else does he have? I ask you this question. I am not a Doc Rivers fan by any means. I think he's arrogant. I think he doesn't make adjustments. I think he thinks he's a way better coach as far as the history of the NBA goes than he actually is, comparing himself to Greg Popovich, arguing with the media, whatever else. But who else does he have? We're out Shake Milton right now. Our roster's so bad, our supporting cast is so mediocre that we're missing a second round, an undrafted player who came out of the G League in Shake Milton. I love Shake Milton, but that's how mid our actual supporting cast is, that we miss Shake Milton. Who else does he have? I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Heat, Bulls, and Bucks are kryptonite. I absolutely agree, man. I absolutely agree. It took 36 from Joel to beat the Kings by 2. Yep. This is what we do now. Our biggest issue is Doc Rivers. You saw what Dan Burke did with just a few games. If we did that consistently, we would be unstoppable. I did see what Dan Burke did in 2 games. We beat the Nets, and then we beat the Houston Rockets, I think. And again, and just like Romp said, like, we can beat the Nets because they have no interior defense. They can't stop Joel Embiid. We can beat the Nets. And then the Houston Rockets are terrible. So that was the 2 games that he had. I'm pretty sure. If I'm wrong about that, you could let me know. But to me, Yeah, I do think Dan Burke's a better coach than Doc Rivers. I think Sam Cassell would be a better coach than Doc Rivers. I think Dave Yeager would be a better coach than Doc Rivers. But at the end of the day, you still need to have good enough talent. The NBA is the one sport is talent versus talent, right? Like, it just is. The 5 better players are going to win the 7-game series. It is, unless you're against the Atlanta Hawks last year like the Sixers and you have an absolute fraud on your team who quits. Shake wasn't undrafted? Oh, my bad. I don't know. I just assumed he was because he came out of the G League, but we're 2-0 against the Bulls. We're 1-0 against the Heat. We haven't played the Bucks yet. I'm pretty sure we beat the Bulls, actually, with our depleted roster. That was the COVID time, right? That was when we had like 9 players, and Tyrese Maxey was out here dropping almost 30 points a game or whatever, 25 points a game. He was unhinged. And then Doc Rivers reined him back in, told him to chill out, stop scoring so much. Mo Bamba, I agree with this right here, man. Miles Powell is nice. He can do things that other players on his team can't do. Same thing with Haliburton. He can do things in the pick and roll as a shot creator that no one else on our team can do. Yeah, we saw a little bit of Miles Powell in those games where our roster was depleted a little bit. And also those 2 games that Dan Burke was coaching, we saw more Miles Powell. We saw more Isaiah Joe. We saw more ball-handling guards on the floor. And he made more adjustments. And he was willing to play younger, more inexperienced guys just to get some energy off the bench. And Doc Rivers, not going to do that. I listen to Knicks Fan TV a lot. I just like their perspective, and I like to listen to what they, their takes on their own team. And they hate Tom Thibodeau right now pretty much as we hate Doc Rivers. They kind of say the same things about him. He makes no adjustments. His lineups make no sense. He won't play the young guys. He's obsessed with certain older players on the team. And it reminds me a lot of what we go through with Doc Rivers. These coaches that just have this ego and I'm right, everybody else is wrong. Don't tell me anything. Eastwood, I can't help but be pissed at Daryl for not making a run at Haliburton. Man. Well, they said they withdrew. They're playing the game just like Daryl's playing the game. But the good thing is that they pretty much offered it. You know what I mean? Yeah, they asked for a lot in return. They asked for Matisse Thybulle. But we're asking a lot for them. We're asking for them to take on Tobias Harris' contract. We're asking for them to take on 2 max contract players, one who quit in the playoffs and refused to come back, and one who's averaging 16 points per game. So we're asking them to take on a lot. They did offer us Tyrese Haliburton, Buddy Hield, and Harrison Barnes, and first-round picks. The more I look at that, the more I think, wow, you get a 21-year-old combo guard like Tyrese Haliburton who could drop 38 in a game like this. Now, who knows how Doc Rivers would use him. But I think his play would be elevated if he plays alongside Joel Embiid. And then you get off the Tobias Harris contract and you get off the Ben Simmons contract and you get the whole situation done for. And you have a player that can actually help Joel Embiid, and then maybe Tyrese Maxey can come off the bench and be a spark off the bench. Then you have a deeper team. You got a nice scorer off the bench who can just come in and get buckets. It's getting real. Like, the more I look at that trade offer, man, the more I think, wow, he should take that. Giving up Matisse Thybulle, it's tough. It's tough. He's an amazing defender. But at the end of the day, do you really see Matisse Thybulle being on the floor in the half court in, like, playoff crunch time? Absolutely not. Eclipse Freak, thanks for supporting the channel, man. Diehard Sixers fan all the way from San Bernardino, California. Love your honest, brutal content. MVP. Hey, thank you. I just try to be as honest as I can, man. It bites me in the ass in some aspects of life. But on YouTube, it helps me out, I guess. I think the Kings deal is still on the table. They're waiting for deadline to make sure they can't get Harden or Dame or Beal or Brown. I agree. But the question is Daryl Morey going to do it? Or is he obsessed with big names? Because like myself and Romp talked about the other day, in Houston, he was obsessed with big names. He brought in Chris Paul to pair with James Harden. That didn't make sense. Now you got 2 point guards on the floor. What are you really doing here? He traded away a center to play Robert Covington at small ball center because he was obsessed with the three-point shooting analytics of the NBA, and he was trying to be the Golden State Warriors. Then he traded Chris Paul for Russell Westbrook because he was obsessed with his superstar name. I'm not trying to be negative here. But is Daryl Morey actually going to do the right thing, or is he saying basically everybody in the league sucks if they don't have a superstar household name? Because that's kind of what he sounded like on the radio. Everybody wants me to make a trade for, a bunch of random players. That's what he said. That's how he said it. He might not even know who these players are. He might be like, nope, I don't want to hear it. It's not Bradley Beal. It's not Damian Lillard. I'm not listening. I don't want to hear it. We're getting closer, though. Right? We're getting closer. We're getting closer to the trade deadline, man. We're getting closer. Give me a second here. Let's check out some Twitter notifications from last night. Up. Lauren Rosen tweets from, what is that, the Delaware Bluecoats? Who cares? My man Keith Pompey. Much respect, Flo. This is what the Sacramento Kings interim head coach Alvin Gentry said of Joel Embiid. He's part Shaq, part Olajuwon, part whatever you want to say. I agree. People hate when I say stuff like that. Oh, you can't compare him to Shaq. Oh, you can't compare him to Hakeem. Oh, you can't say this. You can't say that. Yes, I can. I'm watching the guy play on a nightly basis, and he's incredible. Until he wins a ring, you can't say that. Yes, I can. Because I'm talking about his flat-out skill level at his size. I'm not talking about his accomplishments at this point. I'm not talking about, we're in the Jokic era because Jokic has an MVP and Joel Embiid doesn't. That's a voting process. I'm talking about his flat-out skill, his basketball skill at 7'2", 600 pounds, in his own words. It's just a fact. He's one of the best players I've ever seen in my life. I'm just watching him play. It's very simple. It's not complicated. When I watch him play basketball on my TV screen, he's one of the best players I've ever watched play the game. That's the end of the conversation for me. My Kings better not trade Tyrese. Well, your Kings are in the basement. I'm sorry. And they're going to trade Tyrese. And your 49ers are going to lose today. I'm sorry. Dwight, it's going to be a bad day for you, man. Is it really Dwight Schrute? Are you really the Dwight Schrute? Shout out to you, man. Keep taking care of your beet farm. Joel is nothing like Shaq. I think we say this because, no, he's nothing like, okay, let's talk about how Shaquille O'Neal played the game, if you want to go there. If you want to go there, let's talk about how Shaquille O'Neal played the game. Shaquille O'Neal played the game 100% under the rim, 100% on the block, 100% using his physicality and his brute strength to get to the rim. Why? Because he can't shoot. Because he doesn't have the guard-esque skills that Joel Embiid had. Joel Embiid can step outside and hit a step-back three. Joel Embiid can go through his legs around the back and hit a fadeaway mid-range jumper. Joel Embiid can hit a double dream shake turnaround fadeaway. And then when he has to, he can get in the post and play like Shaq. I think that's why Alvin Gentry would say something like this. He's part Shaq, he's part Olajuwon, because he can morph into those types of players at any point. That's why he said that. So he doesn't play like Shaq because he has a lot more actual basketball skills than Shaquille O'Neal had. I'll always say Shaquille O'Neal was the most unstoppable force in NBA history when he was in his prime, like completely unstoppable. I watched the 2001 finals against Dikembe Mutombo. Mutombo was a cardboard cutout. He stood no chance the entire game. He got moved completely off the block. Shaq pretty much took a dribble and knocked him into the third row every single game. The only chance he had was the refs calling offensive fouls on Shaquille O'Neal in that series. But Shaquille was completely just bodying him that entire series, and Shaquille just bodied people his entire career. And when you go back and watch his highlights, he was an absolute freak of nature at his size, and I agree. But Joel has a little bit of Shaq, a little bit of Olajuwon, a little bit of Jordan and Kobe at 7 feet tall. It's okay to admit, man. It really is. It really is. It's okay. It was that 2001 finals that made me wish for a big man, and here we are. Yeah, exactly. Imagine if we could go back in time and watch Joel Embiid versus Shaquille O'Neal in the NBA Finals. Oh, my goodness. Imagine like Allen Iverson and Joel Embiid on the same team. Build around Embiid like the Bucks did the Greek Freak. Yeah, that's what the Bucks did it the right way. The Sixers should have been doing it for years, but they had this obsession with dancing around Ben Simmons. They had this obsession with, we have to do this for Ben Simmons. We got to put the right players around Ben and Joel. This guy won't shoot, so we got to do this. No, they should have traded his ass year 2. They should have saw how amazing Joel Embiid is year 2 of the process, and they should have said, listen, this is basic basketball. This is not rocket science. If you want to be a point guard and you're not going to shoot the ball from the outside and stretch the floor and space the floor and bring the defense out, you don't fit next to Joel Embiid. I mean, that's obvious as hell. That's one of the most obvious things ever. You don't fit next to him if you're not going to space the floor. But all the advanced analytic nerds would go on, well, here's their freaking advanced PER when they play together versus when they don't play together. And here's their wins and losses versus when they play together, when they don't play together. Here's their adjusted box plus minus, whatever else you want to say. All of that was because Joel Embiid's so great. That's all it is. Here's the stats when Ben's on the floor with Joel. That doesn't mean they fit together. That means Joel Embiid carried him. And Joel Embiid adapted his game because Ben Simmons had to be in the paint the whole time. It never made any sense. I lied to myself for years thinking this made sense. The guys that were saying it doesn't make sense years ago, Max Kellerman, a couple other guys, they were right. Chauncey Billups said he wouldn't have even drafted Ben Simmons. He said straight on TV, I wouldn't draft him. I'd take Brandon Ingram. He said that on TV. And we roasted him for saying that. And now look, if you had Brandon Ingram, where would we be at right now? Hindsight's 20/20, but some guys were right and some guys were wrong. Tobias 05. The Kings aren't trading Haliburton. Well, I'm sorry to inform you, my good friend, they have already offered Haliburton to us. They will trade Haliburton. I'm sorry to tell you. They are not a good team. They are going nowhere fast. They will trade Haliburton to shake up the franchise. And they'll do it for Ben Simmons. Where did the I don't need your intro come from? That came from my YouTube channel being locked down for 2 months because I got some copyright claims from the person who made the intro because he's a fraud and he tried to scam me, and now I have to go to court in September. Seriously. So that's where that came from. But we're back. We're back on the tube, man. What if we can actually develop Haliburton? I mean, I wouldn't bet on the Sixers developing anybody, but I think Haliburton's good, and I don't think he actually needs much development. Like from watching him last night, I just think he needs time. I just think he needs time in the league. He'll naturally get better at everything he does. Like that's why he's, such a prospect at 21 years old. Advanced stats ruin basketball debate. Thank you, Nick. Thank you. It's annoying. It's ridiculous. Like they're so misleading. You can't base arguments off of advanced statistics. Off of like, here's a rating when he's on the floor and these guys aren't on the floor in the fourth quarter against certain teams, and this is how much. Shut up. Shut up. Watch the game, man. Watch the game. Oh, LeBron James will miss Sunday's game against the Hawks as he continues to experience swelling in his left knee. All right, LeBron, it's okay, buddy. We believe you. You weren't ducking Embiid. You really had a sore knee. You don't have to try to trade it. You don't have to try to convince us anymore. What else we got, man? You guys got any questions in the chat? Throw some questions out there, man. Throw some questions, some comments, some concerns. We can talk about anything. I'm trying to pass the time until 3 o'clock so I can watch some playoff football, like, to be quite honest with you. What else we got here? Drop your questions here, Lauren Rosen says. 2 hours ago, got one reply. Damn. Give me a verified check mark, man. Everyone's verified these days. Why am I not verified? I got 260 people in a YouTube stream. Verified people on Twitter out here getting one reply, man. Where's my check mark? Who's winning the championship this year? Let me think for a second. If Denver gets Jamal Murray back and Michael Porter Jr. back at the level that Nikola Jokic is playing right now, I think they could make it out of the West. The Phoenix Suns have the best record in the NBA right now. They were in the finals last year. It's going to be Suns Nuggets Western Conference Finals. Dallas Mavericks are on a surge too lately. Luka Doncic, Kristaps Porzingis is actually playing basketball. Who knows when he plays, when he doesn't. Because he's 7'3" and has knee issues. But the Mavs are surging right now. The Memphis Grizzlies are surging. I don't see the Memphis Grizzlies upsetting teams like deep into the playoffs yet, even though Ja Morant's playing out of his mind right now. I'm going to pick the Suns over the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. I'm going to take the Miami Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I think I'm going to take the Miami Heat to go to the NBA Finals and lose to the Phoenix Suns. There you go. There you have it. Jimmy Butler finally gets to the NBA Finals. Kyle Lowry is a big part of that. Their athleticism, their defense, their coaching, everything's a big part of that. I say they lose to the Phoenix Suns in the finals because Chris Paul is still amazing and Devin Booker is incredible. DeAndre Ayton has elevated his game with Chris Paul, but Butler's already been to the NBA Finals. Bulls, Minnesota. Oh, in the bubble? Nah. What a trash NBA Finals that was. I forgot about the bubble. I really did. I mean, Tyler Hero was scoring like 30 points a game. Like, honestly, the game's different with no fans. The game's very different with no fans. So, bubble finals, schmubble finals. Yeah, the bubble was terrible. And the Lakers won. It was the Lakers and Heat in the finals? Is that what it was? I don't even remember it. I'm not lying to you. I don't even remember it. It was the Lakers and Heat? Do you agree or disagree with the notion that we are wasting time from Embiid's prime by not already trading Simmons? Not yet. If it goes past the trade deadline, then yes. If it goes past the trade deadline, then I agree. We're wasting an incredible season from Joel Embiid. And even though Joel Embiid said he's going to play for 10 more years, is he really going to play for 10 more years? He's in incredible shape right now. And he's adding things to his game, his playmaking. He's playing more on the perimeter. He's playing more in the mid-range game. And this might be an actual strategy for Joel Embiid to, extend his career for as long as he can. Because, like the whole playing, like he was playing in the past couple of years where he would try to dunk on everybody. He would drive down the court and jump and try to, I think he's learning to play more of a floor game. I think he's learning to play more of a strategy, old man style game, whereas before he would try to poster two guys or he would try to jump from the foul line. So I think he's learning how to minimize injuries slowly. I think there's a lot of film that goes into it. I think there's a lot of teaching. There's a lot of coaches. There's a lot of people in his ear all the time. Like this play right here where you hurt your knee in the playoffs because you tried to dunk on Robin Lopez's goofy caveman-looking ass. Don't do that. Don't do that. Do not try to do that. Right there, where you took one dribble and tried to slam over everybody, take another power dribble, pump fake, turn hook shot, whatever. So I think he's learning how to avoid injury. And I think he's playing a lot more like that this season. And I think his mid-range jumper is incredible. His three-point shooting for his size is still at 38%. So he might be good for 10 more years, to be quite honest with you. I don't know. I think part of his injury history is because of how he played the game. And I think he's really learning to play the game a different way and minimize injuries. So maybe he does play for 10 more years. But, yeah, I agree that you are my face pops up when you super chat. I think you are if it goes past the trade deadline, you're wasting definitely a very, very incredible season from Joel Embiid, and I don't want to see it happen. And when I watched Tyrese Haliburton last night, I'm just picturing him playing alongside Joel Embiid, and I'm like, please, Daryl, please just make it happen, please. Please! I was rooting for Jimmy Butler in those finals. I still wish he was balling for us instead of dealing with 2-5. Birds Nation, what's up, man? I agree. I say it a lot, man. It was the perfect pairing. It just was. It was the perfect pairing. Joel Embiid and Jimmy Butler. The Sixers franchise should have done everything they could. They should have said, yo, we'll give you whatever you want. You want Brett out of here? He's gone. You want Ben Simmons traded? He's gone. The fact that you had Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid on the same team, you should have taken advantage of that. You should have done everything you possibly could to keep that together and put a lot of role players around. But no. Ellen Brand trades for Tobias Harris, who doesn't fit alongside either of those players. Literally, Landry Shamet and the 2 first-round picks you traded is more valuable than Tobias Harris. And then he gives him a $180 million contract. Good Lord. Then the next year, when Jimmy Butler leaves, we get another dude who can't shoot in Josh Richardson, and we decide it's a great idea to add Hal Horford to the. Hey, we already have terrible spacing around Joel Embiid in the middle with guys who can't shoot the basketball. Let's put another center on the floor. I can't even believe I survived that season. That was one of the worst things I've ever watched in my entire life, and sadly, I had to go back and delete all of those videos because we had all the copyright issues on there. But I'm going to re-upload those those Fire Brett Brown podcast episodes because those rants were from the heart. Those rants were so legitimate because I was so sick to my stomach watching that basketball every night. But yeah, I mean, Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid, could have won a ring. Definitely could have won a ring. Those rants were legendary. Thank you for that, man. Thank you. Wouldn't mind trading for Melo to come off the bench. Melo's doing his thing off the bench, man, and he's out in L.A., and they're not doing anything incredible in the West this year. Carmelo Anthony's really, playing some of the most efficient basketball he's ever played in his career. His percentages are good. He's, over 40% from three. So I agree, man. Steph Curry has missed 95 of his last 135 threes. Wow. Wasn't he tearing up the league at the beginning of this season? Wasn't he on an MVP tear at the beginning of this season without Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, and he was carrying the Warriors, and now he went ice cold? Man, what happened? Klay Thompson came back, and now Steph's struggling? I still wouldn't put anything past the Warriors, actually. I forgot about the Warriors when you talk about who's going to win an NBA championship. They got two of the best shooters of all time. They got Jordan Poole. They got Draymond Green still. They got a pretty nice roster. And these guys, as they get towards the end of their career, Steph and Klay and those guys, they could win another ring, man. Never count out Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and the Warriors. Never count them out, man. Never count them out. A Kings fan here. What a performance from Haliburton. You think Morey is wanting him now? I think Sixers fans are wanting him now. I don't think Daryl Morey is very fazed by it, honestly. I don't even know if Daryl Morey knows who he is. Sadly, I think Daryl Morey is obsessed with big names, but maybe it woke him up. Maybe Daryl Morey said, "Wow, look at this kid." Maybe Sixers fans were right. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was dumb to turn that down. Maybe I should call the Kings and say, "Hey, listen, man, let's reconsider here." But maybe the Kings are reconsidering. You know what I mean? Ben for Klay and Wiggins. Pfft. Yeah, the Warriors say no, bro. Sorry. I mean, Andrew Wiggins is an all-star this season. He's not. I don't know if he should be or not, but he's playing the best basketball of his career. Klay Thompson is one of the best shooters of all time, and you're going to get that for a guy that quit on his team and refuses to come back and is afraid of the basketball in the fourth quarter? Probably not. You're probably not getting that. Uh-oh. Shaq and Charles Barkley criticized Carmelo Anthony for altercation with fan. It's no big deal, some guy calling me a boy. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion. People feel different ways about certain words and contexts and how things are said. I don't think Morey sees all-NBA potential in Haliburton for Simmons, but asking for Tease as well made sure he said no. Yeah, listen, if the Kings come back and say, all right, listen, we'll throw in another first-round pick and you don't have to give us Matisse Thybulle, or we'll take away a first-round pick and you don't have to give us Matisse Thybulle, or we'll take, you don't give us Matisse, but you don't get any picks in return, but we take Ben and Tobias. I don't know. I might do it. I agree. Haliburton's jump shot looks weird, but it goes in, so I don't care. I just watched him shoot 4 for 4 from 3 in the fourth quarter. He was 5 for 5 from the field. He shot 100% in the fourth quarter, and he made a Luka Doncic fadeaway from the corner to put them within 2 points. It was ridiculous. It was an incredible performance. I don't care what his shot looks like. He clearly has shot the ball enough to Tobias for Rozier and P.J. Washington. Both sides win. Who do you think Tobias Harris is? Look, man, the Charlotte Hornets are an athletic team with a lot of ball handlers and scorers. If they're going to trade Terry Rozier and P.J. Washington, They're losing shooting. They're losing ball handling. They're losing scoring off the bench. They're losing a lot of things there, and they're getting a max contract, 16-point-per-game player. Like, what does Tobias Harris do for anybody? Nah. Nope. If I'm the Hornets, I'm not trading. I probably wouldn't trade Terry Rozier for Tobias Harris straight up. What's Terry Rozier averaging in 2021? Terry Rozier right now is averaging 18 points per game on 43% from the field, 38% from three, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Tobias Harris is averaging 16 points per game, guys. So you get a worse player in return for 2 guys who could score? Yeah, nah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm good on that. Same trade plus picks for Ben. That's not a bad idea. Listen, if the Hornets think they're on something, they're on, on the up and up, and they want to they want to pair a defensive point forward facilitator with LaMelo Ball, maybe you could pull that off. Maybe you can get Terry Rozier or PJ Washington in return. But again, is Daryl Morey going to read those names and think that they move the needle? Daryl Morey's going to say, Terry Rozier. Yeah, I'm not trading him for a bunch of random players. Oh, man. No, I didn't get to watch any NBA highlights from yesterday, man. Hey, DJ, at this point, I'd keep Harris. I'd keep Harris the rest of the season since Ben's not being moved and Harris is suddenly playing well again. I wouldn't. Don't get too high on Tobias Harris right now. Well, last night, if you're looking at the numbers, like specifically the numbers, it's 16 points he had last night on 7 for 12 or whatever. But listen, again, when you watch the game, when you watched what he played like last night in certain situations, in crunch time, offensive fouls, turnovers, bad missed wide open layups, I wouldn't even say Tobias Harris is suddenly playing well. I wouldn't say it. At that price point. Kings next level. What's up, man? Thanks for the support. You lost by 50. Fox and Tyrese, F y'all deal. I said you should take that deal because you lost by 50. I still think you should take that deal because you lost by 50. You're what? What are you 17 and 34? 5th worst record in the NBA. 3rd to last in the Western Conference. Even last night, you had a nice 3 quarters, and the 4th quarter you turned back into the Sacramento Kings, and you started turning the ball over. You had players starting to take terrible shots. You had no team chemistry. You have no camaraderie. The only reason you were in that game is because Tyrese Haliburton went absolutely bonkers in the last 5 minutes. But hey, don't take the deal. Be a bottom-of-the-barrel team for the rest of your franchise history. I don't know what to tell you. Kings need to relocate. Kings need to sell the team. You think if Michael Jordan got a hold of Simmons, he could turn him into the man? Michael Jordan might walk down out of the press box and slap Ben Simmons in the face. If the Hornets trade for Ben Simmons, Michael Jordan might slap him in the face. Seriously. But then again, when I see I just saw Jordan the other night when I was watching the Hornets game and they showed him up in the press box and he was drinking. So I think Jordan is retired. He drinks alcohol all day, every day, and he doesn't really care that much about anything. But back in the day, if Ben Simmons was on the Bulls team when Jordan went, no, it wouldn't have. He would have smacked him. He would have smacked him, and he would have told the front office, get this dude the hell out of here. I don't care. There's a player that retired from basketball, a backup center, retired, quit playing basketball because Michael Jordan was so hard on him in practice. He was tired of getting picked on. Seriously, it's a true story. If you watch that Michael Jordan documentary, that dude was on another level, and that's why he was as much of a winning player as he was. That roster the Kings have shouldn't be that bad. They have a lot of talent. I think it's more of coaching in front. Absolutely. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree, man. Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant were two of just like the fiercest competitors ever. And it is what it is. People try to defend Ben Simmons. People try to, don't be so hard on him. He's this or he's that or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, we're talking about a sport, and we know what it takes to win in this sport. It takes a dog mentality. You can't get to the top with the mentality that Ben Simmons has. It's just a fact. I don't have to be nice to him. I want players that are going to potentially win a championship in the NBA. No, you can't win with Ben Simmons' mindset. Jimmy Butler is a dog. I agree. A lot of players are a dog, man. Ja Morant right now is a dog. An absolute dog. These guys have a killer instinct. DeMar DeRozan right now, a dog. Look at Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. 26.5 points per game and 25 points per game. What an offseason signing, man. What an offseason signing. What is this? MVP rankings? NBA MVP power rankings. LeBron James enters the race. What? So Giannis is first here. 28, 11, 5 assists. Listen, Giannis won it last year. Giannis won it 2 years ago, and he won it 2 years in a row. I think it's time for this to be between Jokic and Embiid. I think it's the center era right now. Chris Paul's always like an MVP, like most valuable player by definition, but I don't think he can win it. When you really look at who these players have as a supporting cast, Joel Embiid's MVP. Or Jokic. Either one for me. I'm not one of these fanboys that, Jokic sucks. And the other side, Denver Nuggets fans that are like, Embiid sucks. All he does is goes to the free throw line and blah, 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 blah. These two right here have their teams in a serious position with not a whole lot on the roster at the time, at this point in time. Jokic is going to get Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. back. That's a different story. Joel Embiid's going to get nobody back. So he's the MVP in my eyes. And Ben Simmons is a fraud. I mean, I guess, like, LeBron's scoring almost 30 points a game at 37 years old. Like, that's impressive, but the team's not good. He's not doing what he did. He's not doing what he did with, like, the Cavs back in the day where, he took a bunch of nobodies to the NBA Finals and stuff. Like, he's not that good anymore. He's still really good for 37 years old. But also, man, and I've always been a LeBron James supporter. Like, I've always been a LeBron James is great kind of guy, just judging off, his ability and his talent and his natural, just what he does at his size and whatever else. But I've noticed this year stat padding by LeBron James. I've noticed this year stat padding by LeBron James. And what can I search to find this, man? There was a video of, it was the end of the game. The Lakers were down like 15. The game was over. LeBron had 29. and he did a layup at the end of the game to give himself 31 points. You know what I mean? He did a layup at the end of the game to give himself 31 points, and I'm probably not going to be able to find it off the top of my head here, but I think somebody posted it and said LeBron has no shame. So it's like at 37 years old, is he just kind of trying to, like, I don't know. Yeah, here it is. I found it. They're down by 9 to the Pacers. 8 seconds left. LeBron has 29 points. That's what I'm saying. I think LeBron is really, at this age right now, he doesn't actually care about taking his team anywhere. I think he's looking at his overall legacy, and he wants to have every record in the record books. He wants to have the most MVPs ever. He wants to have the most All-Star appearances ever. He wants to have the most whatever. So he knows if the Lakers are bad, as long as he's averaging 29.5 or 30 points a game, everyone's going to freak out. How could you average 30 points a game at 37 years old? Oh, my God, he's incredible. We give him another MVP. I agree. I think he's obsessed with his own legacy. And like this is pretty obvious. Like this is pretty annoying to me. Like this is pretty annoying. Like why would you do this? Oh man, that's funny. That is funny. Julius Randle or Pascal Siakam? Neither. Do you see how bad Julius Randle is playing this season? Ugh. Yuck. Oh, my God. Like I said, I listened to Knicks Fan TV, and they were just talking about it yesterday on a podcast, and they were talking about, somebody called in and said the Knicks should try to get Ben Simmons, and they were like, who are we going to give up for Ben Simmons? They don't want Julius Randle. Why would they want Julius Randle? You know what I mean? Who like, I think they should get Ben Simmons too. I honestly do. They got a lot of guards on the team that Ben Simmons can, pass the ball to. They don't have anybody to trade. You're not trading for Julius Randle. Yuck. No thanks. Tibbs wore Randle into the ground last year. Maybe he did, man. Maybe he did. He does that a lot, doesn't he? He did play him like 40 minutes a game. Yeah, he is at war with Knicks fans right now. He gave him a thumbs down when they were booing him. And then he had a heckler kicked out of the game, apparently. And the dude didn't even really say, he didn't even say like what somebody said to Carmelo. He didn't even call him a name or anything. He just was hassling him like, yo, you're being paid this much money and you got, you're a minus 30 or whatever he said. Wizards are down bad too. Yep. Wizards are down bad too, man. Last night, let's go look at NBA stats now that we're talking about the rest of the league and stuff. Because last night the Wizards lost. Kyle Kuzma had 30. Bradley Beal had 9 points. And I don't know, did he get injured or something? Where the hell's the Wizards at? San Antonio, Utah. Oh, that's tonight. How do I go to? Oh, I got to go to last night. Boston beat the Pelicans. Dallas spanked Indiana. Toronto beat Miami by 4. There you go. Memphis beat Washington. Kyle Kuzma drops 30. Let me make this smaller. Where are the points at? Points. Wow, this sucks. My OBS skills aren't the greatest right now. There we go. Why did Bradley Beal only have 9 points in this game? 2 for 11. 0 for 1 from 3. 18% from the field in 35 minutes. He had 12 assists. 9 points in 35 minutes from the superstar Bradley Beal. Wow. That kind of makes me not want him. That kind of makes me not want to give up a bag for him. It kind of makes me not want to give up, a slew of players. Beal and Dinwiddie don't work. That's a good call. That's a pretty good call. Two ball-dominant guards. Dinwiddie, 10 points in 26 minutes, 3 for 10. Yeah, you're not wrong, man. They need a point guard, right? Who's even playing point guard for this team? Aaron Holiday? Is he their starting point guard? Who's their starting point guard? Is Spencer Dinwiddie a point guard? I don't know. Still got 246 people in here, man. Hit the like button on the stream. Thanks for being in here. I'm going to get up out of here in a minute. What'd you think about Dame being injured? What's his injury? I forget. They said apparently he might be out for the season. Portland might blow it up, man. Portland might give us CJ McCollum. Blow it up. CJ and Robert Covington, I'll take it. Beal is checked out. He's wasting everybody's time in Washington. You might be right, man. You might be right. Where is did Kyrie play last night? Somebody said, did you see Kyrie last night? Brooklyn. Oh, they lost to Golden State by 4? Kyrie had 32. 9 for 21, 3 from 8 from the field, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals. Man, what a player for playing half the season. Old Blake Griffin had 13 points. But there you go. So, James Harden, it's the same story with this Brooklyn team. It's the same story as last year. Everybody's hurt. Players aren't playing together. Last year, they played 7 entire games together the whole season. James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant. This year, it's looking like it's the same story for them. They got a superstar on the floor. The other 2 superstars are out with nagging injuries, a hamstring or whatever else. Kevin Durant has a knee sprain or something. He's out for 8 weeks. They don't have a supporting cast at all. DeAndre Bembry, Kessler Edwards, Nick Claxton, LaMarcus Aldridge, Cam Thomas, Bruce Brown. Let's be serious here. Patty Mills and James Johnson are come on. So unless they have all 3 guys on the floor, and even when they do, if all 3 of you drop 30, you got 90 points. What else you got? I'm not scared of the Brooklyn Nets. I've said it a million times. Not scared of the Brooklyn Nets. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the stream. Thanks for coming through. Thanks for listening to me ramble. Thanks for asking questions and joining in the chat. 223 people. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of these streams, videos. I'm going to go watch some NFL playoffs. I shouldn't go to the bar, but what else am I going to do? That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'll see you guys later, man. Peace.